Yeah, I got different pieces. This piece right here is in a style, it's called Gravity. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be self-explanatory. Now gravity don't be holding me, cause I free my flow when I flow.
Welcome to Open Game. What's happening, Elders of the Block? We're here with special guest RT. RT, where are you from?
Originally from New York.
All right.
Been on SD for like 3 years now.
So you moved out here?
I did, for work. Yeah.
For work, all right. And what were you doing in New York before you came out? What's your music?
Yeah, so I've been DJing, man, since high school, 20-something years, collecting records since I was a teenager as well. Play clubs, bars, do a lot of basically like party rock stuff. I also do like a house music party that's a charity event called Move that's still popping in New York. Actually, we've got a crew out in Madrid doing an event this week. And just kind of bouncing between that, dipping into production a little bit. And then since I moved out here, I've been, with the COVID thing and just kind of being new to the scene, I've been dipping more into production and trying to really step that up and take it a little more seriously this year. Just keep making music.
Right on. So what got you into the DJ?
I don't know, man. I mean, my dad collected music forever. Like music was always going on in my house, and he was in college. He did the DJ thing as well, like more radio, and was into putting on concerts and booking talent and bands. That was like in the 70s, so a lot of rock. But he put me on to like Talking Heads. I think is a big influence for me. Blondie, some of that early kind of 80s stuff, not necessarily like the dance music, but music was just always Stevie and like Talking Heads. I can remember being like 7 years old and just hearing in the house. And there was kind of like a friendly competition with like who had the dopest CD collection back in the day and records, and that spilled into my life. And I remember, gosh, I was like 14, sneaking out of the house, going to a rave in Brooklyn, like warehouse, underground thing, and just stepping into that. And it was like, it was all techno and drum and bass, but I think that was when I first experienced hearing a DJ spin, and I was like, I don't even know what this is. I just know that this music and like these drum machines and that rhythm is crazy. I got to figure out what that is. And then so I just started paying attention, trying to grab mixtapes and mix CDs, and then hitting the local record store and going to more parties, and eventually got a pair of like shitty bell-driven Newmarks. And like a 4-channel mixer with a shitty drum machine on it. Damn. And the air horn.
Yeah. Oh my
god. And just kept elevating that, Where I grew up was out in Long Island. There really wasn't a scene where I was, and I was young. Nobody I knew DJ'd. Nobody I knew. Like my friends were into more electronic music and like house and techno and stuff, and I still love that stuff. But fast forward to like '93, Gangstar, Tribe, De La was huge for me. J-Roo, all the early Premiere stuff. '93 was like, I remember hearing that stuff and just being obsessed, and that was just it for me. And then I became kind of obsessed with finding all that stuff,
right.
And figuring out, who was doing what. Okay, where did that sample come from? How to find that record, and then kind of just that like that idea of like tracking down where this music came from.
Right.
Really opened me up to digging and to DJing, and really from there just music history.
Was there a connection that was forming between what your dad was doing and you kind of followed, as well as now you have the hip hop and there's samples involved in that, as opposed to other genres of music? that they're writing original compositions.
Right.
So was that starting to form because you're like, oh, that's, I know about them.
Yeah, a little
Pat
bit.
Benatar, you know what I'm saying? You're like,
Right,
what?
right.
Pat Benatar is being sampled in here?
Yeah, of course.
He rocked.
I mean, I was home like 2 weeks ago, and I grabbed one of my dad's Doors records that Jay-Z sampled for the Takeover.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, there's a bunch. He was super into Little Feat. Little Feat is sampled in. There's like multiple breaks on a couple of their albums. A Tribe sampled. They all like classic breaks, And I had not bought them or grabbed them myself because I knew they were laying in his collection.
Right.
And I went and tracked them down. I was like, whoop, yanked them. So I got them out here now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think that happened initially, but I definitely think throughout the years as I've, gone a little deeper and even had the time to look at what he had collected back in the 70s and 80s, there's definitely a crossover there.
Okay. I can imagine that's like an explosive moment where you're like, I see what's happening now, you know what I'm saying? Premier has such a long history of all of the stuff that he chopped up. Can you share with us what you've been working with for equipment?
Yeah. So I've been a little bit more digital these days. I work in Ableton. I have a couple of pieces of hardware. I've got an Elisa synth. I've got a mic, bass station. I've got the Jupiter 9 little Roland soundboard. I've also got the FM synth. They're little Korg little micro synth. And then in Ableton, I work mostly with the machine too, for all my pads and stuff. And then these days, I'm really using Serato Sample to do all the processing because like the pitch adjust on that thing and the time stretch is just like it's better than anything else really.
Yeah.
I think it just sounds better. It's their processing is just way cleaner. So I'm on Ableton with that, and I do a lot of digging here, in other spots. So I've got.
I get jealous when I see this one come in.
We're always
no,
talking
for real,
shit
like,
about records.
Like I was gonna say, like when you brought up competition, I was like, well, there's friendly competition when he walks
That's
in the door.
another
So I'm
part of
like,
it. See?
But that's
That's
it.
another part of it.
Because it's like,
And
oh
that's
yeah,
actually
And that's
super dope. I think
yeah.
that's why I'm even here today is because
Appreciate you.
we talk shit about records all the time. But in that talking shit, we're just putting each other on.
Yes.
It's just a lesson. Like,
Exactly.
yo,
Sure,
do you know
yeah.
about this?
No, but I
Do you know
speak
about
so
this?
highly of you though, bro. Like real talk, like on some real shit. Like I'll tell other people, I'll be like, this dude knows his shit. And it's like he schools me on shit, and it's like I hope to school him on
He
this
does.
or something.
He definitely does. Yeah.
And then there's a friend of mine, Cat's Groove. She like is another girl that it's like that you're just like, wait a minute, what? Like she puts me up on stuff, and then I show her things that I'm like thinking is played out, and she's like, oh, thank you for showing me that. I never heard it. So it's like even when you think it's played out, sometimes it's not to everybody.
Yeah.
But there is like a friendly competition. When I say like it's not really competition, but it's like that. When you're like kids and you're like, I got this transformer, you're like, oh yeah, well I got this transformer, like like because you're just happy about it, and it's just like so I'm like excited, like oh my god, that break's so dope, I never knew about it. Do you know this one? And you want to share like that.
Another
and
word
it's
would
like,
be passion. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Passion to be competitive. Who you've been working with to kind of take your production to the next level?
YouTube.
Okay,
Dude, that
YouTube
is some real shit,
It's a
dude.
platform, so you have a channel.
oh yeah, no, like
No, I
there's a guy
don't.
who I
But what I
watch,
mean by that
and it
is
gets me hyped.
I
Boomdock.
go to YouTube for like tutorials and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Check out, production tips, engineering tips, mastering tips. Maybe it's to learn a new trick on the machine or something new in Serato, whatever it is. Like I think YouTube is a pretty insane platform for information.
Now, do you ever watch other producers make beats?
Of
Because
course,
I do that.
of
Like,
course.
there's a
You
dude.
brought it up, Rush.
Boomdock. No, the dude. There's a dude named Boomdock.
I was gonna say
yeah,
the
Boomdock is insane.
the
man. All those beats.
Mass Appeal Roulette.
Oh yeah, the rhythm roulette.
Rhythm
Yeah, like
roulette.
that's dope. But that there's a guy named Boomdock. If you guys ever look it up on YouTube, Boomdock. Never met this dude. Don't know the guy, but I'm a fan. And it's so dope because you can see the progression of like how he went from a little ass room and a computer desk. Just had a laptop, an MPC 1000, which he influenced me to buy. And then he had like, I want to say a keyboard, and it was MIDI, right? And then he's just making the beat, and I'm like, damn, dude, this dude is like seriously on some shit. Then he just goes, does the bass line, done.
Sometimes
and then
less is more.
Yeah, but here you go. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you start seeing him like longer, you know, throughout the years, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, he's got a drum kit, this.
progression.
Now he's in a full studio, like, you know, but like now he's got all these keyboards and this, and he plays everything. So this dude will be like, oh, I need this hi-hat, so he'll just show like, hey, I'm gonna go to this drum set, and he's got the mic, and he's just doing this, hitting the snare, takes it, boom, okay, that's there, I'm gonna use that, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna play the keys, then I got the sample chop, boom, 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 hit. I mean, this dude is nice, man.
Right.
And I think he's out of Philly, I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
boom doc. Yeah.
I've checked him out when you told me about that. He's
Okay.
nice. Yeah.
Now let me ask this as a layman. You know, I'm a fan. You guys are artists. So, like you were saying, as far as the equipment and all this stuff, is this the equipment that you would use? Is it for like newbies? Like, for example, say, oh, all of a sudden I get the itch, I want to be a
Could be.
producer.
It's basically whatever
Yeah.
you get to use first.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
Yeah.
probably
Like,
do
yeah.
start with these days Fruity Loops or Ableton or maybe even Logic.
Which is
You gotta remember when
They're
we started.
software.
Okay.
Yeah, but you got to
Software.
remember when we
Okay.
started, there was no
There's no-
software.
right.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
And to what Syko just said, it's like MPCs, machines. Those are more
Sorry.
hardware pieces.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But in
I
the
s-
21st century, I didn't
And
mean
I
to
see
cut you
people
off.
on
No,
their
sorry.
phones now.
Yeah.
Koala.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know
Yeah,
this
we have
app,
a lot of
Koala,
flies up in
but
here. I don't know
that's,
what's
it's a little app on your phone, and it's just a MIDI thing, and you can chop up. You can basically import stuff from like YouTube, chop it up right on your phone,
That's insane.
sequence it. You have different, groups of sequences, so you can just build beats right on your damn phone, man. It's crazy.
And that's what you were
Yeah.
starting to say is you guys started off as the OGs back in the day when there wasn't this technology.
Yeah.
So now you fast forward, like now almost anybody can do it. I don't mean it in a
No,
negative
Yeah,
way.
no, of course.
it's accessible
But
to
it's
a whole nother
more
level.
people.
It's
And
like
that-
DJing, man.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
just gonna say.
yeah.
It's like
The DJ thing. The reason why we have celebrity DJs is because of software, because of technology.
Yeah.
These people have no business. Most of them.
Yes.
Yeah, we could drop
Pushing
Yeah.
pushing buttons.
I'll just say this,
hitting
dude.
sync.
Vin Diesel has songs out that he's singing now. If you
What?
literally look up
Hey,
on
do you
YouTube,
have it? I wanna-
you could go on
No
YouTube
free
right now.
pops. No
Can I
free
get
pops.
those?
No free
But you can go
pops.
on YouTube and type in Vin Diesel singing, and he has an album out, and it is like I started even listening to it, and I don't give a fuck how swole he is. That shit is trash. And if you literally hear it, you will go, "Is this real or is this a skit
Hold
or
on,
is this
play
what?"
devil's advocate. Hold on, why are you
Yeah.
calling that man trash? Maybe he feels that that's an expression of his
That's
art.
fine, but if
and
you
you're-
heard the song, you might agree with me. But I mean,
I
because it's
feel
all
you.
music is all opinion.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
can
yeah.
hear my stuff and say I'm trash, and it's like, you know what? That's fine.
And
If
they
you
got
think
Vin
so,
Diesel.
I apologize. Like
Yeah.
that's what I like to do. This is my sound,
But he's an actor, and he's taking his actor.
He's acting like
his
he can sing.
access to the world as an actor to then apply his singing.
he's acting like he can sing. That's what's happening. Because like if you all you hear is auto tunes and all that, dude, it is
Exactly.
classic, bro.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's funny.
But that's
sorry, man. I'm
that's
sorry.
like a
I'm an
that's
asshole
a
to jokester,
kind of
so
a
that's just-
downfall of it's good and bad, right? Because technology pushes the craft forward, but then it makes it accessible to a lot more people who maybe not haven't put the time in.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, now that's understandable. Now, the real quick point, what is the difference between, because you mentioned it, are you guys DJs?
I definitely consider
Okay,
myself.
so and now you're
First,
producers,
yeah.
or are you, so yeah, because that's, when you hear DJ, producer, and they're interchangeable terms.
And turntable.
But they're very
Like,
different.
yeah.
They're very
Okay.
different.
Yeah. that's
Okay.
Exactly.
DJ,
Yeah.
well, first off, if you ain't got no vinyl in your collection, you're not a DJ
Yeah.
for me.
Okay,
Thank
yeah,
you, sir.
and I've
Thank
heard
you.
that discussion
Yes.
from
No,
some
for
Now
sure.
it's fine. And now I
Yes.
know a lot
Okay,
of
I'll give you
dudes who came up with me don't even have vinyl anymore. They're all on their laptop.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool,
I've
but
seen
they
that.
paid their
Okay.
dues.
Yeah.
A lot of kids, young kids nowadays, they don't even know what a record is. That's weird to
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
However, a DJ is somebody who has songs. They can mix those songs. They can match beats. They can scratch a record. They can juggle a record. Manipulating music with turntables
See, now
or
I see two.
CDJs,
Okay.
or now it's even controllers. Whatever, you're manipulating music, right?
Okay.
That's a DJ.
That's a
and,
DJ.
and somebody's playing music. You're not like just playing a 1 minute thing. You're taking one song into the next, into the next, and the next. You're creating an experience,
Yes.
a musical experience, right?
Gotcha.
Selecting music, collecting music history too. I mean, I'll
Knowing
put that in forever.
samples.
All that. A producer is somebody who takes music and makes music out of that music.
Gotcha.
Like sampling, like we're talking about drum breaks. We're talking about little chops from a Crusaders record of like a second of
Yes.
a keyboard or something,
Right.
and then manipulating that and playing something else off of it. And really, a producer can also be a musician. A producer like, what's his face? DJ Khaled. Like,
Oh, sorry.
he was a DJ who's a producer now, but I don't think that dude really plays anything.
Oh, okay.
He
All
puts,
right. Right.
Puffy. That's a different type of producer, right?
Okay.
Putting two people in the same room, like, I want this guy rapping on your beat,
Yeah.
and then he's a producer.
Okay, gotcha
Same with
on
Dre.
that.
You know,
Okay.
Dre's first album, he made his
Yeah.
album with
Okay.
other
Yeah.
musicians.
Yes.
Yes.
But what he had was an ear.
He's a composer, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. To
he's
me,
not
it's like-
playing it.
Yeah, no, he's just like,
Yeah,
hey, I
he's
need
not-
this. I
yeah.
have this idea, and I need this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Like, I need Stan the guitar man.
And that's
I need
kind
this
of where
guy,
I'm
you know
at.
what I'm saying?
He knows
Where
what
I'm
he
at now
wants,
these
but he
days.
doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
play it. And he does a lot of samples, and he buys.
He replays it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he buys people.
And that's kind of like, I'm taking a page from his book now, because I'm working with other musicians to like there's a bassist I work with, and I'll just send him my tracks, and I'm like, here's what I want, and he'll just send me
Right.
stuff back, and then I chop it up, and I get what I want out
I
of
do
him.
the same. I do the same. There you go.
And that's a whole other thing, because I think, my musical talents aren't dope on a bass, but I know it sounds good.
Right. I feel that, man.
I want to add to that producer too. Also, the difference between, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about people in general. Like some people call themselves beat makers, some people will say I'm a
Yep.
producer. A beat maker can just make a beat usually,
Yep.
make a track or whatever. A producer will take a project from the beginning all the way to the end.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're producing a show, a play, whatever it is. You can go pick all the people for all the parts that you want. You can get the composer, the writer, the actors, the dancers, put this whole project together, and when it's finished, it's complete.
Right.
So I love the differences. Everyone wants to call themselves beat makers these days, and I'm gonna give you another one, and I'm gonna keep this short. I don't care. I hate auto tunes with a passion, but it's so funny that I've been dropping features, and one of the dudes, Main Attraction, I did one where his producer auto tuned me on one of my verses, but it was just a little bit, and he did it with what auto tunes was designed for. It's to correct pitches, to add a little sprinkle and a spice, not to go through the whole fucking song.
Yeah.
And now, if you can sing already, and then you use auto
Like
tunes,
T-Pain,
I
like
respect
T-Pain. Yeah,
you.
like T-Pain.
If you
Yeah, they
can
just had
rap
some on there.
already,
Yeah.
and you use one of these weak ass styles because it's the fad, I'll give you a little props.
Like
But
Kanye.
don't come into our world with this bullshit,
Yeah.
these crutches. And think that you're doing some shit.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. No.
No,
You gotta have skill. You gotta have some type of skill in there.
It's the same thing I'm saying about vinyl too.
Yeah.
I think you gotta have the skill
say
of
the
knowing
T-Pain,
music.
Exactly.
Well, I heard T-Pain for the first time on the
Very
Tiny Desk
raw. He's
concert.
hella raw.
Yeah.
And when I first
When
heard
he
it
was
with him,
singing.
with him out without the auto tune, I was like, damn.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
okay, like
Yeah,
this
he's a
dude's
beast.
really got skill.
And he's a dope
So-
ass performer.
And along with that, not to cut you off,
Yeah.
they just have it on Netflix. They have
where he got messed up for doing it, and he was on a
Yeah.
plane. I guess he got kind of like blacklisted. It's only from what I heard through I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
people were saying that like he was on a plane and like they were like, hey, Usher wants to talk to you real quick or somebody, and he's like, oh cool, and he goes back there and they're like, yo man, like you gotta, this auto tune shit is like fucking shit up, and it was funny because apparently Kanye, and this is all after DOA comes out. And supposedly, like, Kanye's even telling him, but it's like, didn't you just do fucking 808 with all that shit or whatever?
Yeah.
So that's why I was like laughing. It's like, okay, like he had no business doing it. T-Pain, I feel like if you can sing like that without it and you want to use it, do whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like how you said, how a DJ pays dues. It's like, oh cool, you want to use Serato now because you've done your shit? Cool, use Serato.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk shit because you've
It's
done.
like you gotta earn.
Yes,
Serato.
exactly. And that's where I feel like he earned his auto tune.
That's like unlocking in a video game.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, once you finished it, just to end, DJ, producer, you mentioned turntablist.
Yes.
And I think doesn't that include?
Yeah, but see, here's my thing. Yeah, that's
okay.
I'm with you on that. So
Before we move on with that question,
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that the audience knows we're talking with my man DJ Syko right here.
Psycho Alpha Doo.
Yeah, or alpha beta, I don't know what it, like I'm getting out. That almost sounds like a diss. No, I'm just joking about it. No, my thing is like DJing to me is like what he said in the sense of like you're going to a party, you're playing music for the crowd, okay? And then to me, when you added like, you know, if you could scratch, cut this, juggle, like that's where I feel like that's where it separates the DJ world into like, well, I'm a DJ and I'm a turntablist.
Yeah.
All right, there you
Because
go.
like I see a bunch of people that are like playing, and just
Okay.
because you can go like this,
Okay,
or
good.
like a
All
little
right.
tear scratch,
All
like
right.
you're not a turntablist
Gotcha.
to me.
Mhm.
Like unless you can go like break down scratches and go like, oh, I went from a stab into a scissor into a chirp and a fucking
No helicopter?
double click flare and like
Like
and then I was
for that?
juggling and strobing. It's like
That sounds
okay,
like
that's a whole
birds or
nother
something.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like a whole nother lingo and
And
Yeah.
that's why I asked, because as Poise mentioned and you guys have mentioned, it's different now. Like everybody will say they're this, they say they're that, but they haven't paid their dues, or they don't understand, you know, the background, the history, the theory, which is very important, I think, especially if you've played music before. I think that's very important. If you understand music, then you know it's way different, and you know you're an artist.
I think it makes you a better artist. You know.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, what's the point? Everybody has a different purpose of why they're doing it, right? And their end result, their end game. And that's what I wanted to get into next was you DJ, you understand music inside and out in some ways, you paid your dues, you got into the production, you're paying your dues on that. The next level is what for you? Have you worked with artists that are, lyricists? Have
No,
you done
'cause
any projects like that?
Not really. I mean, I think that's part of my next steps, right? Because I've been such a bedroom beat maker for forever. I'm trying to get out of that. I don't even want to call myself a beat maker anymore. You know, I want to get more into being a real producer where I'm hunting down artists and I'm like, you know, I want you on this song, or this MC I want on this track. Basically, I've gotten, now I'm like sitting on like 3 different projects, totally different sounds, each one of them. They're all kind of rooted in hip hop and boom bap, but sonically they're different. You know, one I'm probably going to turn into just like a beat project, all instrumentals. One's going to probably be R&B. The other's going to probably be, you know, a bunch of MCs and maybe 1 or 2 R&B features. You know, like. So for me, I think I'm trying to elevate my sound and get artists involved in what I'm doing, and really produce them. You know, work with them on the lyrics and the melodies and how to integrate them into the songs I've already made.
Right.
Because I'm also not making beats. You know, I'm not working with loops. I'm making like full-on songs, intros, progressions, change-ups, bridges. I think that's kind of the new thing for me too. Is just like, I don't want to be stuck in that beat maker label, because to me I think some of that is simplistic.
Yeah.
And I want to be more of a songwriter.
but you can still use loops and still have all those
Of course, because
aspects.
honestly, probably my stuff is still loops,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah, but you're
moves
adding
on
to it.
from
Yeah, of
one
course. Yeah,
loop.
yeah,
you
no,
know?
of course. Yeah, it's not just like one loop, just looping the whole song. You add drums and go, the beat's done.
But
Yes!
but I hear some stuff
Yeah.
nowadays, and it's like, man, there's not even a change up
Yeah.
in that song. Like,
And I'm
that's
guilty of
cool.
that. Yeah, I'm guilty of certain
some of
tracks
that
like
shit
that
is
where you're
cool.
just like, it just sounds so good. I don't want to fuck with this.
right.
Sometimes
And
you feel
honestly,
like
if you're
that.
gonna throw an MC on that,
Yeah.
you know, they might want that groove for 32 bars or whatever. I'm not saying that stuff doesn't have its place, because that's the foundation, right? It's super important. But I'm trying to move on from it.
Right.
And I feel him. I'm trying to figure out how to make tracks where I don't sample at all.
That's it.
And it's like, and I try, and it's like,
Or
dude, I
sample
feel
myself.
like, yeah. Well, see, I haven't even done that. I'm like taking like, it's so funny. I remember one time I, you know, when you get like certain kits, and it could be like, here's here's a song, and then it breaks it all down. Like here's the keyboards used for it, and here's the drums, and they're all in kits.
Yeah.
And I remember like going, okay, like I'm not sampling, but I got this Hammond sound, like this keyboard. And so then I add effect to it, and then I'm hitting it, and like, I'm using it as a chop now instead of actually replaying, but I'm hitting it, where it's going, and then adding little things and add this little sound, and let's get this snare that goes backwards. But it's like I'm making it with raw sounds, but I'm not using any samples, but it's still technically samples because.
But I do that all the time.
Okay,
man.
I just wanted to
I'll,
I wanted to
play
figure out like,
chords, because
yeah.
I can't play a keyboard very well,
Yeah.
but I'll play a chord and
Yeah.
I'll sample that, and I'll just put a
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
chords on pads.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Okay,
that's
yeah.
how I play
Yeah.
my chord
And
progression.
that's okay. So I don't. That's okay. So we're on the same page at least. I don't.
That's
feel bad.
totally
Okay.
cool.
Okay, hold on.
That's for
All right,
that's
cool. I got
for a
close there.
producer, or we can even put it in the beat range title as well for when you aren't a musician. You can't sit there and do it from beginning to end and play the whole thing
Right.
as a live piece.
Yeah.
But you can build that live piece.
Right.
That's fair, because we're not all going to be musicians.
Yeah.
I think it's an art of its own.
I'd rather, learn to do that on MPC or something than spend 8 years trying to figure out how to play those keys.
And that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're
It's
going
like
straight
trying
to
to be
the point.
strategic
with
about
We went
how-
from A to Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I want to
lessons.
make songs, right? So how am I going to be the best at making songs for me?
Yeah.
Learning how to play a piano ain't
Yeah.
going to be the right step for me. to
But
get
see,
to
that's
the
where the machine
finished
comes
product.
in, because the machine has those options where you can,
Yeah.
like the MP, you can't. You have to do it yourself, and then maybe go to like the 16 and like start doing where you're where you're doing the pitch.
Okay.
But you can actually hit a certain button, and then all of a sudden, whatever you have there goes into chords automatically,
Yeah,
right?
there's a whole chord like library in machine.
Yeah, see,
And
that's
you-
what's so
and-
dope. I want to
yeah.
fuck with that machine.
That's
so
why I
bad,
love it,
yeah.
man, because you could just set it to a certain key, D minor
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and then all your pads and your chords are in key.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's great.
And then
Super dope.
you can even switch the swing and have a Roger Lynn, even like Roger Lynn is a
Actually-
guy from MPC that was worked with Akai, designed MPC, and there's like a swing on certain ones that you're just like, dude, you.
That's why I
cannot-
love the machine, and because I've had a 1000,
Yeah.
sold it, got the machine too.
So did you? Let me ask you this: what did you use before the 1000? I know it's your show, but I have to ask this question.
Dude,
It's our show, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
We're doing
that
this
was my
together.
first
Speaking
real
game.
piece of hardware.
Okay,
honestly,
that was
and
your first one. Okay,
Yeah.
because I went for the 2000 XL.
I
It was
had
like-
used it, but I never owned one
Okay.
myself. I had like Acid, which was another like waveform
Yeah.
editor program.
Computer, yeah.
I fucked with Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Eventually, then I got Ableton, and then when I got Ableton, I got the 1000.
Okay.
I had played with a SP.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
played with a 2000, but I never owned that.
Okay, but when you played,
Even a 404 I had.
damn.
Um,
But I gotta ask this: when you went from prior to the 1000 from other hardware,
yeah.
you could tell that the 1000 was on a different level, right?
Well, then it was suddenly like, oh shit. And I knew this before I got it, but
Yeah.
it's like, now this sounds right because of the swing.
Yes, and it was not even the swing though, too. There's little what's the one thing that I
I think
tripped
that was
on?
the biggest difference though, versus doing it on like a laptop or
Yeah.
something. Putting it in that machine and using that hardware and being able to like just get that little swing, man.
Yeah.
That's what that machine's what everybody used.
Yeah.
Every dope hip hop album ever is on an MPC.
Yeah.
So
But I just know the 2000 XL, you could not do like note, or what is it? Is it note off or note repeat? I can't even think of it. It's like
Mhm.
you, or the
You
group,
hold
the groups, yeah, where you're based on MP like 2000 XL. If you have like let's say 8 samples on the pads, and then you hit one and you hit the next one, they're overlapping each other. They will not cancel each other out.
Okay, yeah.
The 1000 and the 2500, those were the ones that you were able to literally hit. You can set it in the settings and actually hit one key and stop and as soon as you hit the next one, it stops the first one and continues.
I don't like that.
So now I'll say, and I love that because now that means like you can like chop and do stuff live. To me that changed it.
I had to on the EPS, right?
Which I
That's
still
what
have.
I've been
Yeah.
using forever. Yeah, I still produce with that actually. I don't use technology the way that everybody's going into. I'm still actually putting in a floppy disk and waiting
So,
for it to go.
it's still,
Yeah,
it's
that's-
still
You know what
that's
I'm
still
saying?
really important.
It is. It is. I don't want to
Right.
ever lose that,
Yeah.
but I want to learn to combine it.
But
But
the
what I
sound
was
too,
what I was
though.
gonna say though was being able to have a piece overlaid. You know what I'm saying? Is and having the opportunity of both versions. You didn't like that. I do, and in some cases I might not either. But knowing how to freak your equipment
Yeah,
so that you
sure.
can do either one,
Of course.
because you can truncate a piece
Mhm.
and have it sound the way you want it to sound. But I'm using an EPS,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and that's what a producer is.
And I went from the
Even
EPS
though
to
you're
the
beat making,
MPC.
you're producing with equipment based on your knowledge and what you want to do, and you're finding a way to get there in that route.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm sure I do a ton of shit backwards.
Exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I showed somebody else,
We
I'd
all
be like,
Dude, what the
We
fuck
all
are you
what
do.
are you
doing?
doing, bro?
Yeah, we all do. It's who we are and what makes us have that unique sound. So
Sure.
keep doing what you're doing, and don't rock them YouTube channels too hard, man, because then you can start sounding like everybody else without knowing it.
No, but
You know
it's
what I'm
really
saying?
yeah. But I mean at the same
It's
time,
helpful
there's-
because you know what's out there. But when you don't know what's out there, like we didn't have YouTube when we first started.
Right.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. When you don't know that, you're making what you want to make, how you believe it sounds in comparison, using that competitive, that vibe, and you're getting this thing that's just building. But with all of that stuff that you're bringing in, now you have an abundance of knowledge, information, and comparisons to
Yeah.
continue going. We don't know subconsciously how we're really
Changing.
changing it or sounding similar.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that kind of leads us to all of what we talked about earlier on people making bullshit and garbage. Not to say that we're moving that direction, but a lot of people are misunderstanding what we do. You know what I'm saying? And what the OGs did when they first started and where they went with
I mean, I think if you look at what's on the radio today versus 15 years ago, it's a very different type of music. Just because there's a beat and somebody's rhyming on it.
And it's not
really
even
the
because
same.
they make it, it's because it's allowed. Because if you made that, it doesn't mean that it should be played. So there's somebody in place, there's things that's allowing that to take place. You know, the labels, the radio stations, people are paying for that garbage to be out there. We don't have the money to do it, so you're not hearing what we do, which is the actual art form, which is more close to like jazz standards, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's even artists that are new out right now, and they sound dope, but they just don't get pushed out.
I mean,
Yeah.
and you know, even going back to competition, like there's so many people making music nowadays. You know, and that's a
Yeah, like Vin
technology.
Diesel.
It's a technology thing. But like you know, with
Shout out to Vin
YouTube, it's
Diesel.
like you know, when you can make a fucking song on your phone versus having to buy a
Yeah.
$2,000 piece
Yeah.
of equipment,
Yeah.
and then you got to transfer that and get it mastered and you know put on a CD versus uploading it from your phone. It makes accessibility so much different, and then the amount of shit that's out there is like 100-fold.
Yeah.
You know?
Real quick, you know, again, being you guys are industry insiders, I'm a fan. SoundCloud.
Yeah.
SoundCloud. The last 3 to 4
Changed
years,
the
because I
game
have
too,
it.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, I got
Because
stuff on there.
Yeah, me too. I do too.
Yeah.
Like SoundCloud,
When it first
Bandcamp,
came.
Mixcloud,
Yeah. All
what is
those,
that,
yeah. Up on Mixcloud.
Dat Piff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like
that
like I put
yeah.
mixtapes on there. Like it's
Yeah.
just like so that's because you also have to learn how to adapt with the times too. though.
Exactly.
So it's
That's
like
what I'm
we
saying.
might not believe in like it's not like we're like let's put it this way, what is on the internet or on those apps or sites or whatever you want to fucking call them was all made in my studio or my
Yeah,
house
yeah.
through me, and then
Yeah.
it was like okay, well let me upload it so that you know
Yeah,
because
the
it's the
world can
technology
see
so
it,
they can
yeah.
hear it. You know what I mean? Instead of going like, hey, I got this mixtape, you want to buy it $5? Like, you know what I mean? There's that shit. Or you can go, let me just upload it, and, you know, like, whoever listens to it.
That was a part of the culture, though. That was
No,
a
of
part of
course.
what we
Yeah,
did, and
yeah.
that's gone. So that what we have
Shit, I saw
done
that shit
was
yesterday. That
shifted
shit
and
still goes
changed
on.
to where even our
Yeah.
style could have changed based on the fact that you can't sell a tape, you can't sell vinyl anymore. They're like, what is it? Like you said, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, what is that big?
I mean, the digital thing is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Streaming, because I
Yeah.
mean, that's I posted something the other day that I read about the dude from Spotify. Was like the issue was about music distribution, not paying artists. Like they quoted him saying that, like, we don't give a fuck about paying you. We just want to get the music out to people. That is so backwards to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now like I have so many friends who are like, you know, even some local cats that are trying to push their shit, and like they're existing on a streaming platform. And it's like, you know, they gotta get 100,000 plays to even see like $10.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No,
man.
it's
That's
pretty
wild.
bad.
Wow.
Well,
It's
think
like
about when-
0.001 cent every play,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or something crazy like
crazy,
that. And that sucks to me, especially like, you know, that's why I love coming here. There's something magical about a physical piece of music. You
Yeah.
know, that's another art form to me. The
Yeah.
cover art, the liner notes,
Yeah.
the labels, like that is the dopest thing. And that's gone away. And I
Yeah.
feel bad for these kids, man. Like, forget about the monetary aspect and the accessibility, but there's just something so magical about a physical printed piece of
Yes.
music.
Yeah.
Well, it's 'cause
Even
you
if it's a
find
CD,
it.
like, you know, putting it on a cassette and sitting on the corner trying to sling shit, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
with like some dope cover art that
Yeah.
you made. That's
And
magic.
I
Yeah.
just talked to Herm earlier about like record selection wherever you go. There's certain records from artists that you will never see in a record store that's being resold because people will never let it go.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you got to see if there's people that are, is there a company reissuing it? Is someone
But that's
bootlegging
besides
it?
the point. What I'm getting at is how is that compared to the digital world?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
You
I think
see,
there's probably
like, there's
some
so much
crossover.
more value as like a painting would be as the original piece, and you buy that for how much? In some cases, Jackson Pollock, what was it?
Millions?
15 million?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, something crazy, right? It's the most expensive sold painting I think in the history, and it's just splattered.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like Wu-Tang mixtape, you know, sell one mixtape for $1 million. Well, NFTs,
Yeah,
it's
that's
very
right,
similar
yeah.
to what's going on with all of that, right?
Right.
That one record should be the same value as like that canvas. that a painter will sell and not make any prints.
Yeah, but see, that's
And we're
the bad
not
thing,
looking
'cause
at that as music artists, but painters do.
yeah, but there's also
So
one
why are
painting,
we any different?
because there's one painting versus 100,000 copies of that record and 100,000 people not
But that's
trying
what
to
I'm
let it
saying.
go.
Why do we do that
Because,
with music as opposed to people
because
who
think
do
about
that?
it, if there was
Well,
like, if there was the, sorry to cut you off, but like, let's say there was one David Axelrod in existence,
Right.
then that
Yeah.
fucking record is gonna be worth 50 million. But
Yeah.
because I can either get a reissue or I can go digging and actually find it and then have that feeling we're talking about, we're like, I got one now. It's like that Willy Wonka ticket, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's
Golden
5
ticket.
and you're like, holy shit, go on. Like it's like, dude, I mean, that's the feeling you get.
And well, real quick, going back just a
I'm
few,
sorry for
me
You
and
good?
Poise were talking about that. With your point was me as a fan, I really don't trip if I get it in either hard copy or digital. And I say that because there was a record over there, and I was talking to Poise like, this record, I loved it, I have it in my collection, but I don't have a turntable.
Yeah.
So the only way to get it is digital. And I have my copy, and I'm like bumping on, shout
Yeah.
out to iTunes.
Shout out to Soul Shack Records
Sorry.
as well.
Soul Shack Records. Hey, come down here. I found some
3535
stuff.
Adams Avenue, San Diego, California.
There you
But
go.
I think, with me, we always have these discussions. I always like getting, especially him, mad at some of the comments I make. But I think for the ordinary consumer, it's accessible. Now I know
Of
who
course.
you are.
Yeah,
I know
that's-
who
but
you
that's-
are.
that makes it
It's
100%
convenience
sense.
and
Yeah.
accessibility,
Yeah.
and it's also just the integration into your routine. Like everybody's got a damn cell phone, so that's why digital has gone the way it has. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's carrying around a crate of records anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Or a
but-
boombox.
Yeah, but
Radio Raheem style.
Yeah.
Man.
There's one.
Yeah.
Deep.
D, motherfucking D.
I just wish.
The Marcha.
I think there's been a devaluation of things when it went digital. You know.
Yeah.
Things aren't as
Yeah,
like
that's-
important or, you know. I come here and I still find new shit from like 1970 that I never heard before. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
finding buried treasure. to me.
Yeah.
But he also
Yeah.
comes in and goes, hey, do you know this? And I'm like, no, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's got the dope drum break on it. And I'm like, damn, like, how it's been sitting in front of my face all this time?
But that's
But
what that's why it's
what's
so dope.
yeah.
You
and,
know,
then,
like,
and then we'll be like, well,
there's
yeah, well,
some
did you
that's
hear
been
this? And you're like,
sitting
no, what
there
is
for-
it? And then we'll play it, and like, that's how we share.
yeah.
And there's only a certain amount of people that could do that, though. Like,
I
cause
think-
there's like
I
4
think people are missing out on that.
Yeah, but there's only 4 people in my phone that I do that with, and he's one of them.
I heard that. Great digging.
But through the phone of like spreading, like, hey, dude, and then that way, you could write it down or look and be like, all right, I'm on the hunt for that one. It's like I'm still
Yeah.
looking for a record he brought in one day and played here.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I got a question for you. It's actually a two-part question. About a year and a half ago, I saw Jeremy Miller, the sponsor for Machine. What's the cat from the Roots with the Afro, the drummer?
Questlove.
Questlove was doing a concert, and he brought him in, gave him like a 5 or 10 minute slot just to do his shit, and he basically took over the show. Just did some shit that was just so incredible. I fell in love with the Machine. I'm like, I gotta have the Machine. I gotta have
Wait,
the
so
Machine.
Questlove came out on the machine or on
No,
those
no,
drums?
no.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
He brought out Jeremy Miller.
Oh,
That's
gotcha.
like a
Yeah,
feature.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So-
people do some incredible
Yeah.
shit.
He's beating it, he's doing the Jimi Hendrix shit, just killed it. I'm
Nice.
like, I gotta have that machine.
Yeah.
So then they came out with the MPC 1000 or whatever.
Or the MPC
What's-
1?
The one that cost
not the
$1,000 freaking dollars just came out like about when we was
Oh,
on
the
tour.
yeah,
Or the live, there you go.
Right.
So my 2-point question is between the machine and the live, which is the best? And getting back to the or what's the difference as far as what they can do with the functionality and I found the machine on one of those apps. I'm not going to say the app to give them a plug, but when you trade shit and you find shit that you need. I found a couple of them for like $150, but I don't know if I need something else that
Yeah.
goes with
Well,
it
no,
because
it's
they're
probably
making
the
some-
Probably the
older
hardware
or the old one. Or
Right.
like
A
the
lot of
first
people will
machine.
sell the hardware and not the software with it. And when you buy it, they come together. And you need the
Oh.
software to drive the hardware.
So make sure I have to when I get the machine, make sure it has the software.
I haven't
with it.
used the MPC
Me
one or live rather. I'm sure they're pretty comparable. They kind of are designed to do the same thing. Another thing I liked about the machine is that the software it comes with is like a library of sounds.
Okay.
So I don't know if the MPC includes that. Probably it's because it's a Kai.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean,
can
I'd be
I'll have to
interested
ask
to use
him,
them.
yeah.
I mean, I've kind of like there's still so much I can figure out on there, but I've sort of like limited the way I use those. It's a very specific way, and I'm not really like getting too crazy with the tricks and the functionality of it. Because I think of everything through like instrumentation, you know, like I figured out how to make chords on that thing and like keep things in key, and that's pretty great. The rest of the stuff I'm probably doing on digitally on Ableton, you know, like in terms of effects and you know, some of the digital engineering, sound design.
And not even working on either one of those, I would probably still go with the machine for one weird reason. I know a lot of more people use the machine in Ableton versus the Akai,
Yeah, I think-
the MPC Live, so that way I have options to call more people. Hey, I'm running through this issue.
So there's a lot
I'm trying
of-
to do this.
A lot
Like
of
that, and then
variations
plus you
of
got
why
the
people
swing.
pick equipment.
Yeah,
which
and
is-
they're very, like,
I never really thought of that.
Tiny differences. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
just I could troubleshoot easier with that than it would be
So
the
your
other
way
way.
of
preferences.
thinking, right? You have a particular way of thinking that's very unique compared to me and everybody else that makes beats and even DJs for that matter. So it's like you're gonna become. I can't get into the whole computer world.
I can't
I
either.
feel it
but
becomes this
all
thing
my
that you
shit's
just
all
can't
hardware
see
still.
and
Except
put your
for
hands
Pro
on.
Tools.
So like I'm gonna go back and put in that floppy disk and make a beat real quick, and it comes out just as good as I want it to, but it's not with all of the opportunity that I have. So it's my way of thinking. One day eventually I'll cross over and I'll get into it, but like I said, I want to combine them. So with all of that being said though, like overall, not only do you want to have your music, obviously like all of us, have it be in the store and the new release, and people are coming in and they're picking up copies, and you're like, okay, I see what I created, you know what I'm saying? I made it to that point.
Yeah.
What's like the direction that you're going to right now in order to make that happen?
Well, one, just working on music.
Just
You
doing
know,
a lot
making
of it?
sure I'm working on something all the time, pretty much.
Okay, so you got 3 projects that you're currently doing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And even today, right before I came, I was working on
bring that up.
a beat competition online, an
Okay.
Instagram thing.
Like
So-
running it or being part of it?
part of it, submitting
Okay.
music. It's basically like, you know, it's this chill hop shit, which is like really mellow, instrumental hip hop. It kind of is this whole thing that started in lieu with gaming. So gamers would listen to these playlists.
Oh wow.
And there's a label that started out of it called Chill Hop Records out of Amsterdam. They're pretty cool. I mean, some of it's kind of corny, but you know, the contest is like get my music published on one of their compilations and get it on a playlist that goes out to over 1 million people. Why wouldn't I want to put
Yeah,
something
right.
in? You know, I've got music that is applicable to their sound and their
Nice.
style.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to submit something. If I win that could be a game changer.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
You know.
Don't forget about
And-
us.
Yeah, no, but again, it's like, and I'm on there. I'm listening to everyone else's
Yeah.
shit. Like, okay, well, I got to
Yeah.
do this. I got to
Yeah.
make this better. I go more progressions. You know,
Yeah.
change ups, whatever.
Hey, that sounds kind of competitive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is competitive, and so that's one thing I was just
Yeah.
doing today.
Hence
And that's,
competition.
I think that idea of staying busy and making sure I'm making new stuff. That's one thing.
Right.
The other thing I'm doing is trying to tap into more artists, more MCs, more singers. Get them, send them my
Vin
tracks.
Diesel.
Yeah,
You got to hit up Vin Diesel.
Definitely.
He's
He's
really
dope.
I heard he can
He's
sing.
super dope, man.
and you know that thing
He's
is
good at acting like he
I'm
can sing.
trying to go to
Open
more
the door.
events, you know, just to network and meet
Watch
people.
it show up at my doorstep
You know,
tomorrow.
and just
Fun.
show up and support other people. You know,
Yeah.
show some love. Maybe they'll show love back to me, and they'll want to be like, "Hey, that beat you played is dope. Like, let's make a song."
Yes.
I hope so too, man. We need that in
Yes.
the community, man. Hip hop unity. Unity.
Yeah,
UNITY.
Why you going, bitch?
It took, you know, I'm still new in the scene, but like even coming to the record store and being and like just talking shit about records and like,
Yeah.
you know, who knows this and that, like that's a community, man.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's a dialogue back and forth.
You're
about
always going to be
music.
doper than Syko, no matter what he does.
And you know what? I might even have to agree with that just for the shit he brings in here.
As a friend, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you still
That
kick
guy,
it.
yeah, Cycle sucks.
No, but I think that idea of being an active participant in the culture and the community, that's a big fucking step for getting to the next level. So my day job, I run a design company and fabrication company,
Okay.
and I work events. Like we did this giant thing for Comic-Con. I'm the producer for that. So you know, in my professional life, like I'm the guy who gets all the people together to like make this fucking giant thing happen. And now I'm trying to take that and apply it to my music and my art, you know, because like it was always on the side. It was like, yeah, it's been my passion, but like at some point I was like, man, I need to put a record out, you know, and here's the 20 steps I got to do to get to that point, you know, and I think that big picture, you know, of being the producer is like, that's what's going to get me that goal, you know, and so I'm trying to take the steps necessary to have all those pieces together.
How can people connect with you?
Yeah.
How can they reach out to you?
Hit me on Instagram, RT Music, music with a Z, and DJ RT on SoundCloud. Those are probably the two platforms I use the most. Instagram's cool because I put a lot of DJ routines up there nowadays, and a lot of my music, and you know, I'm doing this little competition. I'm trying to find more stuff. I think I'm going to try to tap into this whole competition idea of online stuff, just because I think it's a cool gateway to exposure, and to widening my net and my audience, and who can check me out or hear me or find me, ways to find me. Because like we were talking earlier, the digital realm is like such a deep well of stuff, and it's hard to find things sometimes, especially if you're not like an active listener. Like, you know,
Exactly.
I'm a DJ. I'm used to digging. Like, come here to physically dig, you know, and I do the same, apply that mentality to online, to find a new artist, checking things out on YouTube, you know, trying to find the break that Syko told me about that he wouldn't tell me the name of. Things like that, you know. But
It's like it starts with an R.
Yeah. It's like how you
it's
said
got
the
a
shuns.
blue cover.
No, this guy says shuns.
got
The
shun at
shuns,
the
and it's all Crusaders. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna start using that shit.
you know
Now,
what's
if I was gonna fuck with you, I was gonna go the Crusader shuns.
You know what's dope? You know what's dope about this whole thing is I can edit that out.
Oh, you're all overdubbing it. You're all Crusaders. Exactly. Crusaders.
It's like shuns. I can see the shuns for all the lip readers out there, but it's like Crusaders.
But you know, that idea of like, it just goes hand in hand. Like, I'm trying to make a record, right, and put my stuff out. Well, why not do a competition, which I might win, or somebody might hear me and like my stuff that's never known me before, and be like, hey, I want to put your stuff out. You know, like, I'm just trying to widen the net of access to people in this music world, to help me in my mission.
Well, I think it's good because what you're doing is full circle. So you're going on YouTube and you're looking for people that you consider teachers, examples. You're going to become that by doing that.
Maybe.
So I appreciate the fact that you are jumping into this both feet and you're taking it serious to where it's like everybody that's worked up to this point are OGs, you know, that came before us, and you're carrying the torch.
Yeah,
You
I think that's
consider
so
that to be-
important to
exactly.
me. It really is. You know, I probably wouldn't be doing it if I didn't feel comfortable enough.
Yeah.
You know, with having the idea of paying my dues and knowing who came before me and how they did it. You know, I mean, Bismarck died the other day.
Right.
You know,
R.I.P.
I got a poster of you know, the Bismarck puppet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got that Mass Appeal poster in my room
shit.
because I got it from Brent Rollins because I worked on this white rapper show
man.
back in the day.
That's a
But it was like a weird ass thing. You know, I worked on this show and these homies from Ego Trip were producing the show and wrote the show. I just happened to be a hip hop head and be like, I love your magazine. And they're like, take this poster.
Oh,
you know, and it's a poster of Biz with like every dope MC ever.
Yeah.
And then he died the other day, and it's in my studio, hanging above my turntables. And I was like, fuck, man. And I told somebody a story about Biz the other day. One of the earliest, you know, you asked me how I got into this whole shit.
Yeah.
And it was sneaking out of my house and going to raves and shit. And I went to this one rave, and they had a hip-hop room. And Fifth Platoon was playing.
Oh,
And
shit.
it was one of the first times I
Rolling
saw a
Roll,
turntable.
all them cats. Yeah, dude, those
And
cats
he
are
was
nasty.
doing a juggle of electric relaxation.
Oh shit.
And that shit blew my mind.
Wait,
And
we're
then-
talking about Fifth Platoon, or we're talking about Biz doing it?
Fifth Platoon.
Oh, okay,
But
gotcha.
then Biz came on after them
Okay.
and DJ.
Yeah, 45?
And not 45s.
Okay.
But then he had Redman and Keith Murray with him, and they just
Yes.
jumped up and were freestyles. And this was Biz. This was me. You know, I was a 15-year-old
Yeah,
kid,
oh,
and Biz
shit.
was right in front of me. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this, man? You know, like,
fucking dope.
Wow.
and
That's tight.
you know, and I hadn't even remembered that till he passed the other day. And a friend of mine who was a club owner that I used to play at, she had him play all the time and posted this thing and about how important he was. And I was like, you know what? He is fucking weird. He's hanging in my fucking studio for one, and then two, he was at the party that was like the first time I saw him turntables, and I was like, man, I want to learn to scratch. You know.
You connecting your first time getting into it with Bismarck, you know?
Yeah,
that's an incredible story right there, because that means a lot to me listening to that. I don't have the same story to tell, but we all have our own, how we got into it. This guy right here, Poise, for all the listeners out there, just a little bit, but to tell you on behalf of him, man, this guy's story right here is insane. It's insane. It's like one of my favorite stories of how he got into what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've heard a little bit about what your background, and Herm taught me about his, and
Yeah.
it's like watching behind the scenes VH1, but just people. It's not like any of us are the same as watching like behind the scenes with Def Leppard, but it's just like behind the scenes with Mark Guzman. You know what I'm saying? It's
I mean,
like
literally,
what is this guy's past? And
Yeah.
it matters a lot because we are a community, like we talked about earlier, as opposed to unreachable. You know?
I remember my experience of getting in real quick is just watching, I think it was the 84 or 83 MTV Music Awards.
Wow.
And it was DST cutting it up with Herbie Hancock.
Yep, Rocket.
And I was like, what the fuck is that?
I think
And
it
I
was
was
a lot of
lucky enough to
people,
live in
right?
LA where I was at. My neighbor across the street was Shauna from KLOS, from LA, KLOS Radio.
They had the mannequins.
And,
they did the I remember that was in
and
high
with the
school.
trip is
Wow.
that I went, I hung out with their kids because they were my age, and so I remember always even had records back then because that was the thing. It was either records or tapes.
Yeah.
And so I remember I was telling them I loved rock, and they gave me the album.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so I had the album. So I already had the album through
First
them, and then after that, when I was 8, my dad took me to go see Beat Street. And I'll never forget that it was so funny. Like, people were probably so fucking pissed, dude. Like, I love my dad, man. Shout outs to my pops. But he did a lot of shit, like, because he was a musician, so he was always out night, or out late at night, either practicing or doing gigs. And then he had his day job at the post office. And I remember, please take me, please, please. And he took me, and everybody heard my pop snore. Was snoring in the movie theater, like just, and I'm like this, like it's working, like I'm just like all like this, all like, and I know these motherfuckers are so mad. I'm like,
Was it
I don't give a
was
fuck.
it packed too?
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember being packed, but I know it was a late showing, and he took me, and I just remember seeing them DJing in the movie. Dude, I was like,
But you know what? That's dope. To all the dads out there, that's dope that you got a story.
No, I mean,
about
I
your
got,
dad
dude, my dad
connecting
took me
you.
to my first Public Enemy fucking
Yeah.
concert.
Oh, yeah.
My dad, like, he did, I mean, even when I was in high school digging, I was a junior, I'll never forget this. I remember I didn't have a car yet, but, and it was funny, I told this story earlier today. I was talking to Existence, and we're talking about how, shit, I'm sober, and I'm already forgetting, like, I just smoked.
I'm not going to edit this part.
It's all good though. Yeah, this was I saying. We're talking about what?
Beat Street.
Yeah, Beat Street, and I don't know what's
Just like
I was
first
talking about
impressions,
dads.
right?
I was talking about dads, and then you
Damn, this is fucking hilarious, bro. I literally drew a fucking straight
Hey,
blank right
that's
now,
what
bro. That's
happens, man.
hip hop right there.
Hey, can we rewind real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to, because you're from the East Coast primarily,
Yeah.
Long Island, West Coast.
L.A.
Beat Street or
Yeah.
Breaking?
Beat Street was more real to me, and because I would never be caught ever in those fucking outfits. Like I'm about to try going Ozone.
Hey, that's LA.
But I know,
Oh, that's
I'm LA, but
That's
I'm sorry.
LA.
I was
You're
doing-
too young for that.
Nah,
That was
fuck
the
that.
style.
Nah, I was doing
You're
these
too
spins.
young
I was
for
doing
that.
these spins on the corner. I did my shit, dude. I was a b-boy. I don't care.
Oh, tight
But I'm
ends,
just
Levi
saying.
jean wearing
I'm just
motherfucker.
saying.
You
Nah,
used
my
to
shit.
You used to sweep the floor.
I
Doing
probably
chores.
started
I can do
breaking
this.
first.
No, but I'm just
but
saying,
Did you?
Style Wars was my
Yeah,
shit,
that's-
man.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm also a graffiti writer, and that's
Right.
kind of
Oh,
how
well,
I came up.
Okay, because Wild Style,
Yeah.
the first hip hop movie is mine, and
Yeah,
Star Wars
that's
was a
what I mean.
document. Oh, you
Sorry.
meant Wild Style.
Wild
Okay.
Style was
Both of them.
Yeah,
are
because-
crucial.
Star Wars was a documentary
Right.
that came on Channel 7. It was like
PBS, I think, were in New York.
No, oh, it was a PBS in New York because out here
Sound
it
like
came
Star Wars.
on.
I have it on
It was
DVD.
on channel.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
it came on Channel
TV.
7. I was mesmerized.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, they're finally talking about music I like.
Yeah.
And this was like 82, 83.
Yeah, Wild
82,
Style.
And I
Star
lied real
Wars.
quick. I just remembered
Yeah.
I was gonna say about my
Okay.
pops. He used to take me like I said, the concerts and everything. But I was a junior in high school, and I remember looking for a specific sample that I read either in a CD or a cassette, and it was the JBs doing it to death. And I remember going. It was probably Soul Clap or the bass line for Cypress. And I remember finding it. And pre-internet, I literally grabbed a phone book and I called 411 when you can call 411. I was like, I need every record store that you have listed in Los Angeles. Wow. Because I already called everywhere in San Diego. Yeah. And then I called everywhere. And I was calling. I remember second time around, they answered. I was like, by any chance, do you have Doing It to Death by the JBs? And the guy's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, no way, you got one for real? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, how much is it? And he's $40. I'm like, $40? And this is like in high school. I mean, I'm not going to say my age, but this is a long ass time ago. And he goes, I was like, why so high? He goes, the Japanese are coming out. They're buying a lot of the JBs, a lot of the James Browns, so they're real scarce. The prices are going up. And I was like, I live in San Diego. Can you hold it till tomorrow? And I'll be there before you close. Yeah, so I asked my dad, after you pick me up tomorrow from school, can we drive to LA to go grab this record? Because I need it for my collection, like, please. And my dad, like, after begging so much, it was like, all right. So he ended up taking me out there.
I heard that.
And on top of all that, my dad is, I love my dad, dude. Like, he's the greatest, dude. And I remember going there, and then I was still digging. My dad's like, hey, you might want to use or listen to this David Sanborn. And I'm thinking, like, Sanborn. I'm like, what?
He's even giving you
samples, so check this out. So we
Who's your dad?
Yeah. So I mean, my dad's a drummer and a musician, but I mean, he's more Latin music, so he has, not too much knowledge on that. But he just said, like, hey, this guy you might like. So I remember buying the record, and I got home and randomly it had Concrete Boogie on there.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And so that already had like the dope drum and a little sample and break. So I was like, oh shit. And in the same time, I remember looking behind the counter paying for my records, and I saw 3 Relativity records. Like I saw like the label. I'm like, oh shit, they're one of these. And I'm like, I know Common Sense, but who's Common? You know what I mean? Because like this is now, I didn't even know that like randomly got sued by San Diego group, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, but that title doesn't sound like anything he would do.
What was it called?
I'm not gonna say yet. So then I look.
The bitch in you.
Exactly. He's cheating. And so I'm like, the bitch in you. Like, that doesn't even sound like some Common Sense shit. And then I look and I go, DJ Honda. And then I grab the EP, look at it, and it's like Guru, fucking Redman. Like, I'm looking at it, Beat Nuts, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, how much for these? The guy's like, just give me $5 for all 3.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, cool. So then I'm still like not even knowing, and then I get home 2 hours later, and I play the JBs, and I'm like, all right, now it's time to see what I got. And then I go like this, and I'm like listening to it, and I'm like, oh shit, this is Common dissing Ice Cube.
Oh,
so that was the way I was able to find out, like, and I didn't even know, and I ended up getting doubles in the No ID B side.
That whole little
oh my god, like, so that was like, but that was all thanks to my pops.
I heard that.
That's dope, because I have a bitch in you story, but it's nothing compared to that. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, everyone's different though. Like, I mean, I don't have no Biz Markie story like that.
Yeah.
Well, they're all individual.
You never know when those moments are going to happen.
Yeah,
No, all right, so we got DJ Syko here, and we want to
Syko
know what's going on with this
Alphabet.
guy. Syko, how'd you get your name?
Oh man, this is kind of stupid and funny. Well, my real name is Mark, and now that I look back, I should have been Remarkable. But that makes more sense, right? And but I was like, I was listening to a bunch of, I mean, I guess I was listening to a lot of East Coast, but a lot of West Coast gangster shit too. And I was like, I want to scratch my name. Because I was literally more wanting to be a battle DJ than rock a club.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I want to be on a mixtape and a record, but I want to be able to scratch my name. And I just remember listening to like, different songs that said it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to be Syko, because there's a lot of records that say it, and then I'll be crazy on the turntables, like instead of like, not some, weirdo. And it just, I took it and just kept it, stuck with it.
All right.
Yeah, so it's funny because it's like everyone's like, dude, you're like the nicest guy. Your name's Syko, And it's like Demon. Yeah, because I mean, the homie Bernard, like that's like we like he's super cool dude, and like Demon, and it's like so everyone always was like Syko and Demon, like you guys are the weirdest names.
That is true. When you guys get together, it's double trouble right there.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, Syko. So
yes, sir.
Your intro to music started with your dad. We talked about that. That's a great story to start with. What about the turntable part of it? So like, what, you know, we kind of just had records. Was it because your family had a record player, or did you actually have your own record player?
No, they had my family had a record player, and I remember like watching Beat Street, and I remember watching Homeboy with the cassette tape, and he would record shit, right? So I remember having a ghetto blaster, or boombox, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, well, I know we have a turntable at the house, but it was on that, you know, those 3-piece bullshits, you know, like where on the top you lift up the plastic plate and then the table's there. I would get probably, I think my first record I ever used to scratch was probably Disco Duck. Like I have one of those, right? And I remember I was really advanced thanks to my pops once again. Like, I mean, I watched a lot of shit that I shouldn't have watched. Like, my pops was taking me in the, you know, when I was like single digit, like to the theater to see Cheech and Chong and shit. He took me to see DC Cab. You know what I mean? Like, that was Pops. Like, it didn't matter.
Pops, you hella cool.
And,
I'll run with you, Pops. We're the same age. I'm probably a little younger.
I mean, my Pops is 80, dude. And if I asked him right now, like, if I said, yo, I need to go to this hip hop show, my dad would be like, fuck it, let's go. Like, he would take me, like, like my dad's a G, you know?
Yeah, he is.
Santana on 12.
But repeat the question again. I'm so sorry.
So turntable being in your
Oh
house,
yeah, that's right. So I had the
that's the origin of you
but I want
the records and collecting them.
I was getting to watching, you know, Beat Street, Homeboys recording shit, and then so I had this, you know, tape player, and I would record stuff that I would see on TV. And so I remember, this is so embarrassing, but it's real life. I remember recording Mexican American, the scene in Cheech and Chong's next movie, where they're singing Mexican American, right?
I'm a Mexican.
And yeah, so they're playing that, and I was recording it, and then I remember we had like an old organ in the house, and I remember I would take that recording of the fucking Cheech and Chong, and I would try to play like, you know, the keys, trying to see like, you know, can I play with them, and then I would scratch Disco Duck over it. I mean, dude, I would record a bunch of shit. I would always do pause mixtapes.
Okay.
And I would do stupid shit like where I thought I was so dope. Like I remember the one I always had to go to was I had the Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped, and there was one of the songs where it starts off, you hear the drums, and then you hear Scarface go, he's like, wait a minute, I'll put some motherfucking drums in it. So I would pause it right there, and I would grab some that had really dope drums in the beginning, and then I would record from there. So as soon as he said that, the drums come in. Like I was always trying to do something. I guess I was trying to produce something.
Right. Okay.
And so that's where I started getting into, like, I wanted to DJ because of all, you know, the movies, watching that, and you know, just kind of basically started from there. Like I always wanted. I know since I was 7 or 8, I wanted to DJ. That was it. Period. Never wanted to grab a mic. I just wanted to be behind the table.
What was your first DJ party? Your first official one?
My first official party was probably.
And how old were you?
I'm trying to think if it's going to be one of two because I honestly don't have the memory, but I know it's one of two.
Okay.
No, fuck that. I think it was my first party was in Spring Valley, La Mesa, like a high school party.
Okay.
And I remember, dude, it was the most. Let's put it this way. I'm the motherfucker who called 911. That's how fucking crazy my first party was.
Wow.
I remember it was. I was probably like 16.
Okay, there we go.
And I remember where we were at. There was this pool right in the backyard, but for some fucking reason, dude, it was enclosed. So they had a wooden fence going all the way around, and there was only one way in. And I remember they put me in the back corner, and then like all of a sudden you just hear, "Oh shit!" And then like, dude, just wow, like I mean, dude, this crazy fight, and it got to the point where a lifeguard had to jump into the pool to save someone because this dude was getting so messed up that they were like, you know, beat his ass, threw him in the pool, putting their foot on his head to like keep him underwater. They're throwing rocks on his head, and I mean it was just that bad. So I had to literally kick the wooden fence in 3 planks to get out of there. And I'm so stupid because I should have grabbed my records instead, but what I did is I grabbed my tables. So I'm running around this motherfucker the whole thing, and there's like a riot, and I got 2 12s like under my arms, like, oh shit, like trying to get in that house to get my equipment safe.
Yeah.
And then like shit's going down, but
First party.
Wow.
That's the first one.
And
Alright.
the
So
best
you're
is
like,
the
I'm
best.
in this forever.
Yeah, no, the best is
I'm
the
hooked.
Yeah.
second year, same party, same shit, dude. Again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
What?
fucking nuts. Yeah.
Did you even have a chance to play music?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
And it was like
that's
Friday,
what-
or not Friday,
He
but
played Disco Duck that
yeah,
day.
yeah. I was doing my Cheech and Chong rendition. Yeah. But the funny part was it was just like House Party, the movie, because this motherfucker, dude, literally kept hitting the power chord.
Oh shit.
So I'd be DJing and all of a sudden, pop, and it was like nothing. No, you didn't hear, and people would look like, and I'm like, yo,
It's all
man.
your fault, huh?
Yeah, and I'm like telling like, hey, dude, like to the point where I even had to tell the girl like, hey, dude, move this dude or he's gonna get fucked up. Like this is like the second time. And but I mean that's just that was the first part. Yeah.
All right, cool. Life of a
That's
DJ.
what's up.
Yes, sir. Any other questions, sir, before we run out of time?
I'll have my people contact your people.
Exactly.
All right, so right now we got DJ Sweet Chuck in the house. This is his house, though, folks. We're in Soul Shack Records right now in San Diego.
3535
Adams Avenue,
San Diego, California.
California. That's where we at. So we got Sweet Chuck in the house, and we're talking about all these things with DJing, production.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your past with street promotion.
Street motion?
How did you get started in street promotion? Why?
I met this dude, Tim Richardson,
Kobe.
at a video shoot. And I was providing the sound for the video shoot. I don't even know who the video was for.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I met Tim, and Tim, if you know Tim, he talk a lot. He'll keep you engaged, and he's just going on and on and on. So we linked up with Tim, and then we were just hanging out one day, and I was like, and we were like, how do we break into the music business? What do we do? Let's do something in the music business. And we're like, okay. We thought about it. We threw some ideas around. They were like, let's just do a record pool. There's no record pool in San Diego. So, excuse me. So we started. I had this book that I bought, and it was just like phone numbers for everybody in the music industry and all these record labels, and like if you want to do a video, it was just this book that you could buy for like $100.
Yeah.
So Tim was he was already a producer. He was like working with Tony the Schizo,
Right.
and Schizo had put out a tape. What was it?
Is that the
Funky
old one?
Falsetto.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he had put out Funky Falsetto. Tim was in another group, and they had a song. It was, I forgot what it was called, but it was just they repeated the chorus like a billion times. The chorus was bitches and money. I remember that song. Money, money.
That's still happening today.
Really?
Yeah, people are still
Yeah.
doing it.
So we were like, how do we get in the music business? So we're like, let's just do a record pool. It was like, I was like, because I was already a DJ. I was like, yeah, we can go to plot spots and meet DJs and have DJs pay us to give them records, and we'll get records for free, and we'll have DJs pay us to get records. And I was like, well, let's just start out that way. So we started calling these record labels out of this book, because there was no YouTube, there was no internet, there was no like Instagram where you could just send somebody a message like that. We looked at this book, we cold called like these record labels. And we would just be like, hey, yeah, we're at a record pool in San Diego. And every time we called in, they'd be like, oh, do you guys do street promotions too? And then finally, me and Tim were like, what the hell is street promotion?
Oh wow!
Yeah, so like that sounds like it's in demand. I was like, let's do that.
Yeah.
So
Around what year is this? Around what
it
time?
was like 94.
94. Okay.
So we had met this dude when we called up. We met Rob One.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Rob One.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So
Yep.
he worked at EMI Records.
Okay.
And so we went up. We just drove up there to meet him one day, and then we met Rob One, and then he was like, "Hey man, you should get with these other cats," which was Malathion. So I talked to Malathion.
Wow.
And you talk to them, get to know them, and like they'll put you up on game, tell you all about the business. Malathion at that time was this dude Chris Vargas, and
Nerve or my cut or
no,
Eric?
not Nerve. Nerve
Eric?
was in something else.
Oh, okay.
No, 2Mix.
Oh, Alex. Got
Alex.
Yeah.
This dude Alex. When we met 2Mix, his name was just Alex.
Right.
You met 2Mix back then too.
Yeah.
So it was just this dude Alex. 'Cause he was a street promoter first. And he do the same thing. He wanted to get in the music business. He's like, what do I do to get in the music business? And to get in the music business, like you gotta work at it. Like you gotta work from the bottom to get up, you know. So that's what we did. And next thing we know, we're working like 15, 20 labels at a time. And we were all over San Diego.
Yeah, literally, that's how I got a lot of my like dope shit was through Chuck.
Yeah,
to be honest, like I remember the first time I ever got the Exhibit's first album.
Right.
Yeah.
This dude,
Okay.
the licks.
I got a
Like,
few.
yeah, like I mean, just
yeah.
it was like loud, all the woo shit. I mean, just nice.
We always get just an insane amount of records. I remember one time for B-Boy Summit, we hit up all these labels, even the labels that we didn't even work for.
Yeah.
We hit them all up and we were like, hey, we have B-Boy Summit coming down to San Diego. It's going to be huge and be tons of people. Like, just send us whatever. You know, that's all we did was, hey, send us whatever you can.
But that's when you had the wall.
Yeah. So Relativity took that literally.
Yeah.
We had this. We didn't have anything sent to our house. We had to pay for one of those mailboxes. That was like, you know, in a strip mall, it was like a little, random box here, you know. But it was an actual address, so people would go there and think we were there.
Looking for y'all.
Yeah. So one day the dude from the P.O. Box calls us and said, hey man, we can't accept this stuff. There's a whole truck out here waiting for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a truck out here that's filled with records for you guys. There's like, the guy was panicking. He was like, I don't want this in my store.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta do something. What's your address? So
Wow.
the truck from Relativity comes, and it was literally a box truck,
Yeah.
and it was filled with records.
You gotta be kidding me, man.
Somebody from Relativity sent us all this crazy records.
Still
man.
got some of them?
Oh man, I don't even know. Like, you know, you remember Common, the bitch and you?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we just talked about it.
We just
See
talked
that
about
in app. See that in the upcoming app.
What's
Yeah,
the
they
chances
said
of
that. Nice
What's
stories.
the chances of that, man?
Yeah.
These are all interconnected stories, though, from the players. So you guys have
Yeah,
a
that's
bits
what
and
I'm saying.
pieces of everything.
Yeah, it was crazy rare, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't find it anywhere.
Did your dad take you to buy yours too?
No.
That was my story. That's what's so
Yeah,
hilarious.
that
Yeah, I mean,
connected
yeah.
all.
He had his delivered from the
Dad.
fucking label.
Oh,
Yeah. Word. Like, hey man, we just pulled up to your doorstep.
Right.
From the source.
You paid $5 for 3. You got a box truck.
And there was
Free. His were free.
crazy.
No, they sent us 300 copies of that.
And I didn't even get one from you. Fuck you.
And it was like gold at the time.
Yeah.
They were like, we got 300 copies. What are we
Out
supposed to
here.
do?
3D
I'm a
street
backpacker
promotions
anyway.
Yeah.
just completely blew up and got out of control. So you guys had a great idea to do that.
Yeah.
What did it lead to? By the time it hit its like peak, what was going on with that?
It's peak, man. It's peak. I think the best thing that it did for us was like, for me personally, was like we didn't pay for a concert for 5 years.
Wow.
I didn't pay for a T-shirt for 5 years. I didn't pay to like go to a club anywhere. We never paid to go to a club or nothing. I mean, it got me. Cause I'm a DJ. It got me to open up for Eminem.
Okay.
When his first performance in San Diego.
Got you gold records.
Yeah, records. Oh man.
No, gold records.
Oh yeah, I got me gold records. It's
Like-
got yeah.
Just so
It
you
was
know, he's
big,
on
man.
gold plaques for Noriega,
Yeah.
AZ.
And what were you doing
D'Angelo.
to be a part of that?
Just being part of the street team. Just helping them
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because they do.
Certain labels would do that.
But
So
how
they,
does that-
they must
how
offer
does
that
that-
to everybody
he helped
part of
push-
a team that got
That
that.
pushed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In terms
Oh,
of the
yeah.
amount of units
Yeah.
sold, he is responsible for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There are levels of plaques. You
Yeah.
We were probably at the bottom level.
So yours
Yeah,
is
but it
like,
doesn't matter.
but
You still have a
you
plaque.
still have
You know what I
yours
mean?
was
Like
like the plaque on
with
the
your
seat,
name
right?
on it, though.
Oh,
It's
that's
not even.
messed up. These dude, y'all
No, but I'm just saying, like,
here.
it's actually personalized. It's not just like here's a plaque and like
Yeah,
cool.
I
Like,
mean,
your
it's-
name is on it.
No, but
don't-
still, yeah.
Even if it, even
No,
if
but I'm
it's
just saying
not,
it has
it's the
this
fact that you
government,
have one, you have to
DJ
do
name,
something
yeah.
to get one, no
Exactly.
matter what. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Like the one,
Yeah.
the AZ, it's an AZ and D'Angelo plaque. It's a double one.
What was that?
And like, my homie Rob One from EMI called us up and said, hey
Oh,
man,
you don't like pop music.
who do you want on your plaque?
What?
So dope.
Wow.
Yeah, what names do you want on your plaque? We're sending out plaques.
that's
and I was
dope.
like, oh,
Okay.
Well, you know, it's,
No, but you know what's dope though? They would even like the labels would even get this full funds and like have the meet and greets.
Yeah.
And I remember like we would go like to like seance and meet artists, meet artists, and they're like literally like, oh, don't worry, order what you want, and so, like, and they would order food, and we'd just be there meeting these people.
So was this late '90s, early 2000s?
late 90s.
Yeah.
Late. Okay.
Like labels would actually pay us to like, hey, go get a spot, order all this food for DJs. Have all these DJs come out. It's called the meet and greet. Have all these DJs come out. Somebody from the label will come down. Order whatever you want, man. Give all the food that you want for all these DJs. So DJs would come over and just be like, hey, man, we're gonna leave.
Yeah.
And that's when you gave them the vinyl. And
we were like, hey, man,
we could ask questions. They would tell us certain things.
Yeah.
And then at one point, like even towards the end, which is fucked up, because I was always jealous of this dude. Like, man, I want to work with these guys.
Right.
And I remember they finally gave me a job like towards the end.
When it was done.
And it was so funny because I remember I had to like take up I had to help with some group that was like some weird label, and I remember I had to take them to the spot right next door to Huffman's.
Was that insane?
And on the four corners of death, I had to take
You went to CWD?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. CWDs, and I remember we saw Terry Norris, the boxer there. Shit, they were the dudes I was taking for the label. Were more excited to see that dude than that dude was excited to see them. It was hilarious, dude. But I just remember like just doing that was just so fun. So I'm just like thankful for that, and I'm proud of you, bro. That's just so dope.
Because you had to put in the promotions back then. You had to like go to other cities.
That
you
was
couldn't sit on your Instagram and just make it.
There was nothing. It was you guys.
Yeah,
that's what it was. I remember that, and then the vinyl exchange. That's when I started to learn more about pools, and I just started putting out records in '96. So that made a difference for me too to be a part of that, man. So I definitely appreciate.
That was the first record was '96.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's a funny full circle. You gave me records to take for you to Fat Beats.
Yeah.
My pops is the one who took me.
Oh, for real? Man.
My pops is the one who took me, and like my pops is the one who took me to get your shit into Fat Beats in LA.
I didn't know that, man.
My pops was like when I didn't have a car.
Working at Fat Beats?
I was J-Rock and Babu. So my dad even knows them. Like they'll be, hey, how's it going, sir? Like they actually used to see him as a kid, and my dad's like, oh, I remember Babu. Like and like when I bring up certain things, like he knows that shit.
Right.
But he doesn't know, but he knows that shit. But it's just so funny that I remember it was when they were splitting the spot on Vermont with the Beastie Boys. So it was like Triple XL was the Beastie Boys clothing, and then Fat Beats was upstairs in this little little spot. So they just had a little tiny spot inside of a tiny spot.
Right.
And I remember when they found. Oh, actually, you know what? I lied. When they finally got to Vermont, they had their own spot, and then that's when I took the record in, and J-Rock was kind of skeptical.
Right.
And then I just said, hey, is it cool if I play this? And as soon as he played it, there was one dude in there, and he's like, hey, what is this? Is that for sale? And then that's how your stuff got into Fat Beats.
Right. That's dope. That's dope, man. That's another story through Syko, you know what I'm saying? I went to a Fat Beats in Amsterdam. And then that took me into a radio. Yeah, I went to Amsterdam. And they brought me into a radio show right after that because they were all connected, and I was from out of town.
He opened up for Gil Scott-Heron in Scotland.
Yeah, I've been doing stuff, man.
Yeah, I know you've been doing stuff.
He's a big part of my start.
It was such a small hip hop community. Like we were sitting in this girl DJ Steph's house.
Yeah.
She was having like a little party at her house.
Yeah.
And I remember I was just being in the kitchen, and I hear somebody scratching. I'm like, good lord, whoever that is dope. It's crazy. Right. I go out there, and Cuber is like,
Yeah.
Good old Rich house party.
Yeah, good old Rich.
So what I wanted to do was talk about the peak you were saying was for 3D. What was that again?
The peak was like we were doing like 15 labels at once. We got to a point where we were working for EA Sports.
Wow.
We were promoting video games.
Oh, is that when Masquerade came?
This is after that.
No.
Okay.
After.
This is after the trip we did. So you guys had got to how many years after that?
This was probably like 3 years after that.
Okay.
3-4 years after that. Where like we got like they like got us a hotel room in LA for E3. I don't know if you guys know what E3 is, but E3 is
video
like,
game shit.
It's like Comic-Con, but for video games.
I just did one.
Oh, you did?
In Boston, right before.
Yeah, I won in Vegas
I came
too.
home from that,
It's
and
AVN.
everything shut down. Right before the
E3 is
video.
insane.
It still goes. It's crazy, man.
E3, if you're like video game stuff, E3 is just nuts, man. like we were there, and I remember like the last day, we were walking around, and we went downstairs, and it was just imagine Comic-Con hall, but just consoles were just set up everywhere, and everybody's just playing video games. I was like, what? I found this on the last day.
Right.
And like, oh man, because I was, I'm a video game head, and it was just nuts, man. E3 was just fun. So that, and then we met that weekend. Like Muhammad Ali was there.
What?
It was that game Knockout King.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah.
That
So I
game
remember,
was
like,
dope.
I love that game.
It's just being at a party with Muhammad Ali, and you're like,
I love
dude,
that
what? I was in high school a couple years ago. What
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, how am I like chilling with Muhammad Ali at a party?
And you know what's cool though off the record though is that the coolest thing is that it never went to his head. Like you've always been the same dude. You've
Chuck
never
has
been like
always been a
somewhere.
cool cat.
You never let it go to your head though. A lot of people
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Tim was a cool cat.
Yeah, no,
too.
Tim's for
Yeah.
sure.
I think that's how we connected, because me and Tim were just more like business focused. Like, let's get this business done.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of outs that you can have, like, oh, I'm in the club every night.
Right.
Girls are here, let's get drinks.
Right.
And it wasn't about that for us. It was about
that's
let's
good.
work. Let's get to the next level. Let's take it to the next step.
Yeah.
And see where we can go from
You
there.
guys are definitely inspirational for me, and I'm sure many other people that were like me, independent artists that were like, where do I go with this?
Yeah.
Did it plateau out then after that?
Yeah, it plateaued, and then that's when the internet started getting big. Once, like, yeah,
This dude.
because like we were
This
like,
dude.
we had 3D.com,
Yeah.
right? It was like, remember there was two booms. There was the first initial internet boom,
Yeah.
and then people were buying like, pet.com. Food.com.
Yeah.
People were just buying crazy websites, and then
Just to have
nobody
the
was
rights,
going to
yeah.
that. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
Nobody didn't. It advanced too fast, and then it just died out.
Yeah.
Remember that? And then the second boom. But we were there, the first boom, and then when it died, it just. But what happened is it basically killed street promotions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like street promotions just went. Record
like
labels were like, hey, we could just we could reach 1 million people just by making a post.
Right.
Why do we need street teams?
Yeah.
05, 06?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, because I did the street team thing too, man.
Yeah.
And man, that was really college, but even when I got out and was DJing in New York, we would be running around with flyers probably till like 2006, 2007,
Yeah.
and then but that was also in conjunction with online
Yeah.
promotions.
I don't miss wrapping telephone poles.
No.
Yeah, man. Or
Yeah.
just getting flyers
Yeah,
printed
that
and
was
like
the
carrying
best. I
boxes
remember.
of flyers.
I remember
Yeah.
learning the technique of
Yeah.
like, okay, you get one and you staple the sides, and then you go to the other side and staple, and then you do the bottom one. And you just keep pushing from the bottom up, and then it just like wraps the whole thing. Like, dude, it was like, yeah, it was a full technique.
Tension.
And then even from here, going to LA, thanks to you, I ended up getting a job promoting for Break-A-Strip. So I was going on Melrose, leaving flyers places, getting paid for that. I was like, cool. But then, like you said, once the internet was like, we don't need you. We just make one fucking flyer and an email blast, and we didn't pay shit.
I mean, I can't imagine the last time I printed something.
Yeah, right.
Pass out.
You know what's funny? You saying that is I still do that
Yes,
because
it
I'm
is.
nostalgic.
Well, I
don't
wanna
wanna
get back
leave
to
it. I don't want to let it go. I feel like if I still kind of dabble in it,
I think it's
That
coming
it-
back, man.
Is it?
I think it should come
Yeah.
back.
I think so.
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like
I don't
feel
know.
like it'll kind of work because it's different than just
People are slapping
being
stickers
numb
on.
to watch
Yeah.
everything on Instagram
Yeah.
all the time. You know?
It's sticker
The
slapper.
sticker thing, 'cause
Sticker thing.
Yeah.
again, some local homies,
Don't
they just
forget.
put an EP
Promotion.
out. They did a
Inexpensive
sticker with a
promotion.
QR code, which I thought
Yeah.
was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like you can have
Did
it.
that? We just did
Yeah.
that.
But that's like, I think, the meeting of the two, right?
Yeah.
Here's a
Yeah.
physical thing I can give you, but it can also traffic you
Yeah.
right to my digital.
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, with the QR code.
Yeah.
On it. That's
Yeah,
what
we
I
just
did.
did
My
that, man.
I did my
That's so
business
crazy.
card. We did our business cards that way, where you got the
Yep.
QR
Yep.
code.
You gotta, I mean, you gotta marry the two.
Did I get one?
But I do think
You don't get one
Which one
voice.
there's still something magical about getting something, you know, like having somebody give you a physical thing.
Yeah, no, it's because that's what we're going back to. That's what it is. That's what it was.
Well,
That's-
then-
it's not anything else.
That
It's
should have
just
never
that.
gone away completely.
Right.
Crate digging.
Yes.
But
I mean, do they even have like artists coming out to a city and just like spending a couple days and like going around the town anymore? They didn't even have
To
that
the
anymore.
radio
little bit.
stations,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Depends on who
But
it
it's
is.
not like personal though. It's like artists would come and like we had like Rapid Forte in like a record store
Yeah.
for like hours.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he was just sitting there like signing autograph for like hours.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
stores.
You know,
They used
I
to
wonder
do
if
E40
artists
used to
are a
go
little
to
bit more like
Leopold
orchestrated.
in the,
The Roots
in
were
the
in
Bay
La
Area.
Mesa out here in San Diego.
Yeah.
Buster Rhymes, the piece of shit
tower.
that I hate.
Damn, like that.
Well, yeah.
We'll let it
I knew
go
that
on
was
later.
coming.
Yeah, no, who else? We've had so many like.
we had like
Well, you know, Guru, when Guru came out,
Oh,
remember that?
oh,
yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
Man,
peace.
cats that.
I remember Rob one telling the stories too, but
Yeah,
I can't
well, he was the reason why he
exactly,
came out.
Yeah, I know.
Yo.
Yeah. No, there's just we had like MC8 out here. We took all the House of Pain around.
Ooh.
We took like one time we drove Naughty by Nature from Distillery all the way to Z90.
Dude, that's a mission
Yeah.
too. That's
Oh,
like
man.
San Marcos, like Chula, dude. That's
San
like-
Marcos, yeah,
Or is it
like
come on when they come on?
Escondido, Chula Vista.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, we did that for
Yeah, about an hour,
Naughty by Nature, and we
15,
did that
30.
for Lords of the Underground.
That's
Ooh.
crazy.
That's dope.
I was like, just driving to, I was like, dude, I was so excited. I was like, dude, we got Naughty by Nature following us.
Yeah.
We're taking Naughty by Nature to a radio station. I was like,
We did it.
I was in high school.
We made it, Mom. Top of the world.
I was still a fan. I was still a fan.
Yeah, that's the cool thing.
That's fucked up.
That's the
When the
cool thing.
disposable is all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. The flash ain't flashing yet.
You gotta push it 3 times.
It's all off center. Then you have to do this. It's off center. You don't cut out. You can't see yourself.
Man.
All right, so we came to a plateau, and what was the end, man?
Are the numbers still
Just
wrong?
basically like a shutdown. You guys
The
made a
end
decision
was-
and pulled the plug.
I left before the plug was pulled.
Oh, okay.
I got fed up to I didn't get really fed up. I think I got tired of it. It was like 5 years on the, it was just nonstop, constantly. And then me and Tim lived together, and we worked together in the same house.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
ah,
I'm surprised it lasted 5 years.
you
Like,
see
oh,
each other
yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Man, like, let me do something different.
Yeah, for 5 years
Yeah.
every day is like, oh man, it's just like a marriage.
Yeah, that.
He's like, your face makes me sick.
Why are you talking?
Yeah.
Go
Dude,
away.
stop
That's messed up.
breathing.
Right?
It's pissing me off right now. The way you breathe, dude.
No, I got nothing but love for Tim.
No,
man.
Tim
It's
is
just,
is
it's just
awesome.
the way it worked out.
Yeah.
We just came to a point where it was just time to time to go. It's time for me to split.
How many years
So-
from that point until Soul Shack started?
Man, it took me a while to get here because after I left, I got married, I had kids,
Yeah.
and I worked. I had to work at 9 to 5 when you have kids, man.
Right.
Hey, but you
Regular,
helped us
yeah.
with a lot of cable,
Yeah.
man. You helped out the low budget hobbies.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
I was 15 years at Cox Cable, man.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So then, this just
They'll be like, "Hey,
came
man,
about
I
this
need
year.
help.
So I quit
Like
3D. I quit 3D in
You talking
2000.
about Soul Shack
Yeah.
this year?
So Soul Shack was 21 years after that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I quit 3D in 99.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it that said, "Hey, I'm gonna open up a record store"?
Yeah.
After all of that record,
After all that, I mean, it was like
Final
since 18.
frontier.
Since 18, I was like
Yeah.
I was just a record lover, just a music
Yeah,
lover,
Yeah.
just a digger. It was just because you're a collector. I think everybody's
Yep.
a collector. You collect
Yep.
something, whether
Yep.
it's like records
Cards.
or you collect like
Books.
little mini little statues or something.
yeah,
There's
Yeah.
always something. If somebody's
Yeah.
out there's always collecting something.
Yeah.
that's true, man.
So and our thing is just records and music.
Yeah.
But it started with record
Yeah.
shows, I think.
Yeah.
Personally, like to be honest, seeing you like get to where you're at.
It started, I think it was Charlie Rock kept bugging me. He's like, "Hey, man, you gotta go beat swap me. You gotta go beat swap me."
Just talked
Would
about
you go
me.
to
So you
South?
talking about in LA?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just talked about that with the cats. He
Yeah.
said, Ish. What's up,
Yeah,
Ish?
Ish.
Ish was talking about
Yeah.
that, and he said like that was the greatest thing that ever happened.
Oh my God.
And it sounds like the greatest thing that ever
Yeah.
happened for a big distance. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It wasn't just LA. So
What is
you were
Beat
going
Swap?
out there for that.
It was just a bunch
Beat
of
swap
vendors.
meet is a bunch of like record dealers
Mhm.
or CDs or and they would have it was in Chinatown.
Yes, and it's in the spot that's
Diego?
2 stories. No, in
No,
LA.
in LA.
And
Okay.
it's like a 2-story spot, and like I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, I used to even go out there, and that's like, I mean,
Yeah.
dude, it is
But
it was crazy. Like you go
all
there and
the
it was like
elements were
CeeLo's.
in there, too.
Shout out to
elements in
CeeLo's
there.
from
Yeah.
Stax Records
Yeah.
and ICI.
Damn,
Because
shout out to CeeLo's.
yeah, because I remember like going. I used to be happy just to go. CeeLo's gonna be there just to see what he's got because he
Yeah.
always had shit, and he was the dude that you go like, hey, I'm looking for the Beef single by Chubb Rock featuring PMD and Dawes Effects, and be like, I got it at the crib. I'll bring it next time, or hit me up.
Yeah.
Like so, I mean, those
That
were
was
just
like Frank Quattlebaum, Rasta
Yeah.
Q-Tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like him. Because I asked him when we got there, I was
Crazy
like,
digger too,
yeah.
man.
I was like, man, I like this record, I can't remember. He's like, hold on. And he goes and he comes back. He had all that stuff on vinyl. Still got it in my collection, man. I would have
So-
never seen it anywhere else, ever.
Yeah.
But I got it. You know what I'm saying? Because of Frank Q.
Yeah, so Beat Swap Meet was just like a bunch of people selling their own stuff. So it's like a swap meet for like records.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's in LA, so it's a different beast.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was out there selling, and I'm like, they had DJs in different places.
Yeah.
And I'm out there selling, and there's a DJ next to me. And he was just killing it. I was like, who the hell is this guy, man? And we looked over, he's just right next to us. And we were looking at him, and I was like, holy shit, that's Arabian Prince.
Yeah.
So Arabian Prince is spinning next to me. I'm like, what? Arabian
Pretty
Prince,
much.
right? Yeah. So they'd have cats like Arabian Prince there.
Oh,
You'd
okay.
see like Peanut Butter Wolf just walking around.
Wow,
Cut
okay.
Canvas, Newmark, they're all just
Yeah.
there.
And now that's all
Records.
down here. Now I'm from the Bay Area, so that's why I'm getting
Yeah.
geographically specific. So okay,
That was
cool.
all in LA,
Because I hear
But
Newmark,
they-
Cut
yeah.
Chemist.
Right.
He did a song with Ozo Motley. I was like, oh, who's this dude? J5 he mentioned. So
Yeah.
all that sound, I call it the LA Bohemian sound. We heard up in San Francisco and everything. I love that. So that's cool. That's
And,
nice.
like, what you guys out there? Coop?
Oh no, that's in Oakland. That's in Oakland. It depends on what city. Yeah, that's Oakland, Berkeley.
San Francisco is like all good.
Yeah, yeah. San Francisco is more JT, the bigger figure. My man Andre Adams, that's Andre Nicotina.
I had soda about nicotine.
Really?
When he was what was his first name?
Dre Dog.
Dre Dog. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Dre. We took him around. We hung out with him for like 5 days.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he came out. It was just, I remember going to a club. The one across the street from Sports Arena.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, it was across the street from the Sports Arena. There's a club there, and we go, and they're like, "Yeah, we need to see your ID." He was like, "Oh, I got your ID. I'm Dre Dog." I'm like, "You in San Diego, man? I ain't nobody know you in San Diego, man."
Hey, that's that San Francisco thing,
Yeah.
man. We just different breed.
What? I'm Dre Dog, man. San Diego was like strict with that, man.
Really?
Like you go to LA and just be like, "Oh, that's Dre Dog." Like, oh yeah, come here.
Oh, okay. But Diego's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
They
different
know
breed.
you, then they ain't tripping.
Okay.
San Diego didn't know him. So
Yeah, even at that same club, it was called Ministry.
Ministry.
Yeah, Ministry. Even at that same club, the bouncers were like,
They did.
We turned away Jordan.
So what I was
Wow. Because he had shorts on.
cover
We're like, he's like the owner was even like, no,
on there. And
that's
that's
really?
my wallet.
like, it's Jordan in the 90s, and you're not going to let him in? Are you crazy, man?
Yeah, that is.
He'll drop at least 5 to 10 to 15.
I
But
know.
they didn't care about that. They were like,
Dre Dog.
yeah, they're like, we don't want somebody with shorts on.
Dre Dog.
I'd have been like, yeah, you come in, you get VIP, what do you want?
Oh, exactly.
Crazy. All right, so that's what happened with 3D Street Promotions. That's where you kind of closed it. Oh, we got past that. So what I was getting at was the record store, Soul Shack. You had been going to the Beat Swap meet. You had the whole history of collecting vinyl and just being around it all the time. And is it nostalgic for you to have opened up a record store? Is it business?
It was always the
Both.
goal. It was always the dream of
Okay.
own like a store.
I
Like,
kind of wanted to do the same thing too,
Yeah.
personally.
I guarantee you thought the same thing because any DJ who collects records, that's the goal, bro.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that would be my thing. It's like,
Well, it's
fuck
like,
working
yeah.
for somebody. No
Yeah.
offense. I'm on a record store myself, man. I'm just trying. That's the goal. No, I know. Like honestly, just so you guys know, Chuck is my boss, and it's like I couldn't ask for another better boss, man.
Yeah.
It was.
But-
I got like crazy lucky with the spot, man.
Yeah.
I got super lucky where, like three of my friends owned the spot before me,
Okay.
and then
It's the same name,
pandemic
right?
hit. Yeah, the pandemic hit, and they were shut down for like 6 months.
Right.
Then I was like, text them, hey man, open back up. Stuff open back up, open back up. They're like, we don't know about opening up. I was like, open back up. I would text them like every couple days, you guys should open back up. oh my God, I'll work there.
Yeah.
Because I was just sitting at home and just collecting unemployment.
Right.
Because that's what everybody was doing,
Yeah.
sitting at home collecting unemployment. So I was like, open back up. I got nothing to do when my kids aren't here. I'm sitting at home. I was like, open back up. And just like, okay, yeah, if you want to work there, you know, get it up. So I like kind of like pushed them into opening it back up, and then I was working here for like 6 months, and then things happen, you know, where they, you know, people don't get along, or you know, stuff happens between, you know, owners, and it just came about where they're like, hey man, we were gonna sell it, you know, since you've been here for so long, we see you really care about the place and see you want to make it, you know, happen. It's like you want to, you know, take it over. I was like, shit. Done. What do I got to do?
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was. It took a little while because I knew, you know, you have to make it your own.
Yeah.
You know, there's, you know, when you're working at a spot, you're like, this is what I would do. This is what I had that opportunity.
Right.
So I
Now,
was like, this is what I need to get done. We didn't have this up there. We didn't have a lot
I was
of
just
stuff.
walking in even for my first day compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
It's
When
like,
did you really open up as your, like, this being your place?
January.
So I feel like I came in like in
January 21.
February.
Yeah.
Right after
This
that.
year?
yeah, and I was barely before, and I was just here
like a
before you.
grand
Right.
opening type thing.
That's crazy.
I want to. I think I was gonna hold off because I want it still to be more mine. I think January next year we're gonna have like a huge
Okay.
like,
oh, okay,
really
year.
grand opening,
Yeah.
and like, you know, this is my spot. And yeah, I want to do that.
That's awesome.
Maybe you come and spin for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Maybe.
If he's not too busy, he might be super famous after he gets his stuff published
I
in
know,
this contest.
Don't chase me.
He's gonna be really famous after the public sees this interview, right?
And the production team behind it.
Dang, don't forget about us, our
I know,
team.
No, but it's also about, you know, trying to help out the homies too, because you
Right.
know, I've got stuff in here that my friends sell. Like this stuff right here is DJ Demon stuff right here.
Right,
You know, that he
Yeah.
sells.
Okay.
The t-shirts are there from Jabba. You know, those are his.
Oh,
DJ
wow,
Who,
okay,
Cross
that's
Yeah,
man.
One.
who stuff.
Oh, okay.
So let's go into that, man. You know, we always talk about community. That's what our organization is all about. You open this up, but it's not for selfish reasons. It's to create a community through what you like to do. And it's always been a community. Hip hop has always been community driven. So what you're doing is just sticking with that. You're not changing the game, but you're encouraging it. You're supporting.
It's a place, man.
It's like
It's
you
like
want
cheers.
people to come here, so you do things
Hey,
with
man.
and for people in
So,
order
man,
for that
so I gotta
to
be the fat
be
one.
appreciated as a community effort. You know.
Yeah. It's weird. Like somebody came in the other day. He was like, "Hey man, I'm just starting out DJing." He's out from Detroit, but you know, we're out here on vacation, so I came and I gotta wrap some records. I'm just starting. He's like, what is DJing done for you in your life? And I was like, oh, that's a deep question.
Yeah.
I was like, that's deep.
How much time you got?
Yeah. I was like, basically, I was like, all my friends right now are from DJing. I was like, I don't talk to anybody really from high school or anything like that. And I was like, you know, everything came to me from DJing when I said, all right, I want to start DJing. And then from that point on, that's when like life started, and like all like Syko from DJing, all the homies that I hang out now from DJing or record collecting.
Right.
I was like, it's like back, you were there back when hip hop first started. It was like it was a community.
Oh
It was
yeah.
a love. It was like
Yeah.
you knew when you went into another city, like, you know, who the hip hop heads were.
Right.
Because they did it and they put it out there that, you know, that's what they did. And like when we went to San Francisco, we didn't stay at a hotel. We stayed at somebody's pad.
I know. I
Because,
miss that.
you know,
kind
that
of
was
stuff.
like a hip hop thing. It was like,
Yeah. Hey, we're
and
in
people
town.
would come down here
Yeah.
like, hey man, we're gonna come down to San Diego. Can we stay at your pad?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, come on.
Right.
We had to
So-
cut corners everywhere we could.
Oh, yeah.
Save out the hotel.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. Plus, it's like you're getting more out of it.
Yeah.
If you,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
do
Well, no, you
that
just
kind of
rarely get
stuff,
to see those people, so
And
you
you
got to
s-
actually kick it with them.
Exactly.
Like, hey, we're gonna
Yep.
kick it. We're
why
gonna do
separate
this. Yeah.
yourself from that experience when you can go hang out? If you had enough room, if I had a house, I would have so many people come through all the time, because that's how I feel about how it is to have something that you can offer.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anything, then what's the next thing you can do? And you just keep going from there. You know, it's community minded is what we're all about and what we do, and it's a part of hip hop. None of us would be doing anything without somebody else down the road. It's always been a collective. You notice, you know.
Yeah. Like we would, you know, we opened up our house to like a ton of people.
Right.
People just.
You got a big house though. You lucked out with that.
We lucked out because we had like 3 other roommates. It was
Yeah.
a situation where like like Tim had these friends that like wanted to live together, and they're like, "You want to live with us too?" So the more people, the bigger house we can get. So it was like 5 of us lived in like this 2-story house, and the other roommates were super cool where that they didn't care about it. You know, other people staying, like we had Mr. Journeyman stay the night.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They showed up with Rob one day. I was like, "Hey, Rob brought him by. He's like, is it cool we all kick it?" I was like, "Yeah, man."
Dang.
How would you not want to have like everybody out there like come stay at your spot? If you
Oh
got
yeah.
that chance?
This is MERS and this is Curb and
In the business, if you're in the business,
Yeah. Like dudes from CBS, all the graffiti crews, they would come and stay at the pad too. Yeah, we had Massa East come to the pad.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a lot of people just come to the house.
That's the ace.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
We would have like big parties out there, man, at the house. It was like college for me. That was my college.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go to college. I didn't go. You know, I went to work, and that was college for me.
That balanced it out.
Yeah.
Your learning experiences.
Yeah,
I
my
like
whole
that.
learning
Yeah,
experience
that's tight.
right there.
That's tight.
That's how I grew up. And all that.
Tight.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a way for people to contact you for the shop?
Oh, we're on like Google. You just Google San Diego's.
Just
like,
Google it.
Yeah.
Soul Shack Records.
Soul Shack Records. San Diego. We're on all like
Discogs.
We're on Discogs. We have a lot of stuff for sale on Discogs. A lot of stuff in the stores, not on Discogs.
What's the Instagram?
Soul Shack SD is
Right.
Instagram. We have a website, Soul Shack Records is our website.
.com.
Yeah, but that just directs you to Discogs. There's a little blurb on there about us, but that's it. Yeah, we
Okay.
try to keep it simple on there.
Right. What do you offer here in the shop?
We have everything, man. We have 12s, we have singles, we have albums, we have every genre you can think of.
New, used.
Yeah.
So then so you have new material. You have used. Do you have consignment?
We have
Actually,
new
Chuck
stuff,
is
yeah.
really good with the I'll let Chuck.
Consignment to me, I think too many steps with consignment, so I'll just buy it straight off of you.
Okay.
Yeah, like we did with the coloring books.
Right.
Trust
Instead of-
One.
yeah.
Even Trust One, we did it, and he posted, and the next day his stuff sold out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So what we like to do is like just like man. So you know, you get your money. I'm not trying to like
Yeah.
Chuck supports the local artists.
Yeah.
Plus, he is fair in the sense of like, hey, I'm only gonna make this. Like, we can both make it instead of making nothing.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a little
That's
piece
really
of the pie.
cool, man. I
think
like
it's like-
that.
I respect that, man.
It's like everybody can eat, man. Everybody should be able to eat.
Yeah.
I like that, but I also want to include that there should no be.
Shinobi, I played that game. We're talking about E3.
There should not be the entitlement. You know, the privileged generation entitlement. A youngster walks in here and says, I want you to buy my stuff or do this. Like, you got to respect the fact that you're running a business. To offer something so that you both could do it, and for you to do what you did trumps all of that, and it handles the situation, and that's great right there, man. That's
No, we try to be respectful of everybody. And,
Right.
Even people that come in and just want to sell a stack of records. So it's,
yeah.
like we've had people come in and be like, "Man, you guys are giving us the best price."
Okay.
It's like we went to another place and they wanted to give us like $2. So we try to be fair with everybody.
Right. Okay. I like that, man. So this is Chuck's spot right here, DJ Sweet Chuck. He's running the Soul Shack Records today, and come through and support 3535 Adams Avenue, San Diego, California, 92116. That's where it's at. You can get in touch through all of the other forums of social media. Check out the website, soulshackrecords.com.
Yes, sir.
Right on. Thanks for joining us, Chuck.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us, RT. Appreciate you guys, man.
Good to
And
chop
once
it up.
again, we got another show down. My man Poise right here. I'm Scribe Sayer. We got Herm over here, kind of been out the screen a little bit, popping in. And my man DJ
Popping
Syko,
off.
props out to DJ Syko for being a part of this too.
Right.
Yeah, thanks a
So
lot.
alpha beta.
It seems to me, gangsta rapping, hip hop rapping, knowledge rapping, all gets the party people's heads clapping. But a vulture outside of our culture came with misguiding labels and placed them on your picnic tables. All self-expression is the same, the burning flame or rose by another name. I'm serious as an incurable disease, so all you part-time MCs